if people, that are moving towards a plant-based diet, I mean, they're used to putting, like we always hear all the time, like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, like nuts and seeds and all that sort of stuff. Is there a limited number that you guys are recommending? Like you should stay below a certain amount or just use oil sparingly? What are the recommendations? I mean, can you generalize on what people should be having?
Okay, Joey, this is my favorite thing in the world to talk about. Okay. We have a simple traffic light system to help people understand what food to put in their body. Okay. It's very
Okay.
simple. All right.
Great
There's
question.
green light, there's yellow light, and there's red light. You know what, Joey? I want people to really get a foothold on this. Okay. I really want to make it clear.
Were you writing down foot puns when?
Okay. So I'm going to answer your fat question in a second. Okay. But the green light category has foods that are, they're whole foods. They are unrefined. And we suggest that people eat them in large quantities, literally as much as you want. It's almost impossible to overeat the green light foods. So that's fruits, mangoes, bananas, papaya, lychees, longans, like fruits. Okay. Go to town on fruits. Then you got starches. Okay. So these are starchy vegetables like potatoes, yams, butternut squash. Then you move into legumes. Okay. So you have all different varieties of legumes. You got lentils in there. We include peas in there. So red lentils, green lentils, go to town on those. Then intact whole grains. Okay. These are foods that are unrefined. So that's going to be millet. That's going to be, we'll put quinoa in that category, brown rice, farro, intact whole grains. Then you move into non-starchy vegetables. So bell peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, then leafy greens, then mushrooms and herbs and spices. All those foods, eat them in abundance. And the first four categories are in a specific order: fruits, starchy vegetables, legumes, intact whole grains. We want people living with diabetes and people who just want more energy to focus on calorie-rich, calorie-dense whole foods. You got to get your calories somewhere, because when people start eating a plant-based diet, they think, oh, it's a bunch of salads, and they do that, and all of a sudden they're hungry. They go have something that they ate previously. Maybe they have a cheeseburger, maybe they have some pizza. All of a sudden they get energy again. Well, it's because you weren't eating enough calories on a plant-based diet, where you weren't focusing on those carbohydrate-rich whole foods. Because again, a lot of people come to it with the fear of eating those foods, but it's the exact opposite. You want to focus on them. All right. So that's the green light category. Then yellow is where we're going to answer your question. Okay. Yellow light foods, we suggest you eat in a much more conscious quantity. You got to bring some consciousness here. Like they're good foods. You just can't eat too many of them. All right. So these are plants that are higher in fat, or they're just a little more processed. So nuts and seeds, we're going to put avocados in this category, coconut meat, olives, soy products. They're great foods. Plenty of evidence-based research showing how beneficial they are. They include fiber. They include water content, important nutrients. They're just naturally much higher in fat. Right. And when you eat large quantities of those foods, that is going to cause insulin resistance. No questions asked. We see this, again, all the time in our own bodies living with type 1, but the thousands of people we've been able to run through this program, we can see that very clearly, very objectively with type 1 diabetes. And you can see it just as well with type 2 and their medication increases and their fasting blood glucose increase when you start including more high-fat plant foods. Okay. So, but then we still have things like bread. Okay. Maybe Ezekiel bread or brown rice pasta or quinoa pasta. Like these things are cool. They're great. They're just a little more processed. It's better to have the original whole intact version. All right. And then red light category. This is where we have animal products here. But back to your question, we have oils in the red light category. Okay. Oils, one of the most refined foods on the planet. Okay. You've taken out the water content. You've taken out the fiber. You've taken out the carbohydrate. You've taken out the protein. You're essentially left with pure fat. Maybe some of the higher quality oils definitely have some nutrients left in there, but calorically, it's pure fat. It's the most calorie dense food on the planet. It's very easy to gain weight when you're including, smaller amounts of oil. A little bit will go a long way. And it is the most problematic food you could possibly eat. I wouldn't say possibly, because there's some foods that are worse, but it's one of the most problematic foods when it comes to insulin resistance because of the fat content of oils. And we're talking all oils: coconut oil, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, it doesn't matter. It's still pure fat with the nutrients taken out. You're far better off eating appropriate quantities of what that food was made of. Okay. Eat some olives, eat some avocado, eat some coconut meat on top of your acai bowl. Like, have some fun with it, but let's focus on whole foods that include the original fiber and all the nutrients intact.